Why, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of the regular season recap here for the Nffl. Spud! It's not exactly how we wanted it to turn out. We put up a hell of a fight. I mean, shit. For all that we've gone through this year, our team isn't as bad as it could be. I know the manager has made a fuckload of errors, like an insane amount, like an embarrassing amount. Like I think I've had like 9 weeks this year where I've had a player or multiple players with a goose egg or negative points. So like that's just not acceptable. People like Matt Gay, I think that's an outlier. That's an exception. He hasn't had negative points this year yet. It's his first missed field goal or missed extra point. It's either one. I can't remember. But, he's been fucking lights out. So can't complain. He's like kicker number 7, even after a -4 week. So, I'm happy. I wanted to shop him last week, not with anybody, but with the waiver wire. It just came down to a managerial decision. And we went with the guy we know versus the guy we don't. And it ended up biting us in the ass. He had an off night. It's definitely not ideal. But we're getting way too deep into this here. And this is going to be a long one. So sorry, boys. Just a quick recap here. We had Purdy get me 21.42, Browning get me 23.7, CMC get me 15.8, Williams get me 16.6. All of that is lovely. You could switch those numbers around with any one of those 4 guys, and I would be super duper happy. If Purdy got me 21, if Browning got me 16.6, if CMC got me 23.7, and Williams got me 15.8, which I kind of thought that's how it would more stack out. I would have been fucking stoked. CMC had a little bit of a lower week. Not super happy about it, but, Purdy stepped up for him. Browning stepped up for him. Williams definitely stepped up for him. And we also had another guy here a little bit later down who also stepped up for the team in an embarrassing lack of effort. It was bad for the next couple of guys here. Davis. I want to cut him, honestly. I just want somebody else to deal with him. I feel like every year I give myself like 1 or 2 really solid guys. I try to get it in each position. Things get hurt, people get hurt, IR, buys. So it's never ideal. You never end up with those guys at the end of the year. You trade shit away, but man, dude, I always find myself with a hit or miss guy, and I always find myself trusting him way too much. And it's all because of the week that I put him on bye, or put him on my bench, that I end up putting him in next week or the week after that, or just randomly picking a week with my eyes and just fucking, that one. Oh, sweet, he's playing week 16. So shit like that I just can't do anymore. I need to be a better manager. This season has taught me that. Gabe Davis got me 0, man. That's rough. It's unacceptable. Dave's got me 4.4. That's also rough. After last week, I figured that they were going to come in here and run the fuck out of us. And then I figured all those fucking dump passes and shit to James Cook and over the middle and, off the sidelines and screen and shit like that. I just figured that would have been more digs, and I figured it would have been more, taking a couple shots downhill for Davis and catching, us slipping up a little bit. Like, I thought this was going to be a hard-fought battle. We ain't going to get into the refs and everything that happened there, especially because the continuity. I've seen a video on YouTube where there was 4 different guys that were lined up literally in the exact same spot over the last week and a half, or 2 weeks, technically, 2 NFL weeks, since last Thursday. Last Monday, sorry, that were lined up in the exact same spot. Nothing was called. So, it's just really heartening that, it's not, I think it's not necessarily the call. It's not necessarily when it was called. I think it is just, and it's a complaint with all sports that have anything with biases and humans, making decisions. It's just, just keep everything fair, even. I can remember in baseball that was all we wanted, behind the plate. We didn't give a shit if he was terrible, if he was fucking strictest guy in the world. We just wanted for it to be the same for everybody, no matter where we played. As long as you understood within the first couple, minutes, innings, quarters, whatever game you're playing, you understand how they're feeling. You can adjust, and that's how you got to play for the rest of the game. And it's going to be, not necessarily easy, but it's going to be predictable, I guess you could say. And I think that is where a lot of our issues are around the league with the refs. But this is going to be a long fucking one. I'm high as shit. When we had Reed 16.5, fucking put your balls out on the fucking table, baby. I love it. He's just kind of, I think he's becoming like a number one, like pass off, dump off guy. He runs sometimes. He's got like one or two rushes like every game. He's just kind of a gadget guy. Good to see. Glad he's on my team. Honestly, I'd rather have him over Watson. Watson may have outperformed. I'd rather have him over Dobbs. I just feel like over the last 10 weeks, he's just been a little bit more on the consistent side and just ramping up a little bit. And I think if he can stay on the 11 plus point range, I'm going to be stoked. Njoku, 24.1. I would say that is the highlight of the week there. He didn't score. Oh, no, he did score. He scored the most points out of everybody. Of course, he's the highlight. He scored the most points out of everybody in my active roster last week. But, yeah, that's it. That's insane. I finally figured it out at the end here, the last 3-4 weeks. I finally figured out that tight end spot. Haven't been 100% bought in, but I think after this week, he's just justified and proven time over time that, a ceiling of 8 points, and a floor of, 6 to 8 points and a ceiling of, 25 is awesome. That's where I want my tight end slot, especially in today's day and age. And we had Cooper get me 9.2. That's projected. Would have loved to seen better out of him, but that's just a managerial thing. I should have put him not in my flex, and in my wide receiver 1 slot, put Davis in my flex, and then just flex it from there. Should have just been smarter. But we had Dolphins get me 11. At one point, they had 18 points, 19 points, something like that. Last 4 minutes and 43 seconds, I think it was. I went back and watched it. I ended up losing 7 points, which I think I ended up losing to Mikey by 5.6. So that's rough as fook, but can't complain. Number 1 defense in the last couple weeks, so they are scoring 11 plus points every single week. They're doing really well. They're looking solid. They're not actually the number 1, but that's what I like to tell myself. Then we had Gay, outlier. We already talked about him. Then we had Cook get me 14, so love it. He's been on the iffy page, and I haven't been 100% sold on him, so I was really shopping him and Gay last week, but didn't pull the trigger on anybody. Just figured I'd go with the guys I know. Stacked up the bench with a bunch of maybes, long shots, and, it just didn't work out. We had London get me 24.2 on my bench, and Singletary get me 12.5. Either one of those guys would have won me the league instead of Davis in my wide receiver 1 spot. I could have put Davis in my flex and traded for that guy. Actually, I'm pretty sure everybody but one player who was active last week would have won me the week, but neither here nor there. It was a rough week. Then we have me and Nick Lowe here week 1 in the Sped Bowl, and we had Parker and Nick Garvey here week 1. You know how I feel. I'm winning that one. Parker, I think, is winning. I think he's just shown a little bit more consistency. I think I've shown a little bit more consistency. I understand that I could score 110 points. I score 160 points. I can score 220 points, whatever it was this year. But it is what it is. I think of course I'm betting on myself. Got to have that mindset here in the Sped Bowl. Anything else is unacceptable. I'm putting myself as a winner for the number 1 seed. I would not be the most pissed off in the world, to be honest with you. I actually think it would be my preferred pick, would be number 2. But if it's going to come down to it, I'm going to get bragging rights. I'm going to see if bragging rights in the aspect not of winning the Sped Bowl. I mean, bragging rights in is if I can have the number 1 overall seed and win the league, like this next year, I think I'm going to prove the number 1 curse wrong, and I'm going to win, get some money in my pocket. Life's going to be good. So I'm betting on me from here on out. We made the Sped Bowl. We knew it a couple weeks ago. That's why we changed our name, but we're going to embrace it now, and we're going to be winning here. Then we have Jesse and Ryan and Mikey and Alex. So if you look at since week 10 here on most of these guys, Parker and I in the Sped Bowl have been performing substantially at a better average than Nick Lowe and Nick Garby. And then if you look here as well, you can look at Alex, who's just a total outlier right now, just absolutely performing out of his mind. He is a 150 or 160 kind of guy. I don't think since week 10 he's had anything less. I think he maybe had like a 149 point something, but other than that, he's 149 to 168 or whatever his highest was in that span. So his ceiling is a little bit lower than some of the other guys, like maybe Ryan, who I think is also kind of not an outlier, but he's more on that side of things, closer to Alex. So I'm gonna give it to Ryan and Alex this week over Mikey and Jesse. I think, Mikey, my man, he fell off a fucking table. At least your team did. It was the trades, man. Trades and injuries. Shit happens. But more power to you, man. Your team did better. You have the better guy. You're in the playoffs, so I can't complain there. Can only look at you for guidance for what I need to do in the future. Ryan, I got you this one just because, man, I don't want to see Jesse's team win, especially after doing what he's done in the last couple weeks. I want him to go 1 and done. Same with Mikey. That would be cool because I really think Alex, Ryan, Owen, and Jackson are the 4 best teams in the league right now, regardless of injuries that are happening in the future or whatnot. But I think Owen's obviously the number 1. He's got to win it. Anybody else is crazy. But I actually have a wild card here. I'm going to go with Alex as the number 2 place, meaning not necessarily 9th draft pick or whatever, but I think he is going to make it into the playoff championship there. I think he's going to pull a dark horse and absolutely run the table. And if he isn't winning, then I got to give it to the favorite. He's like a minus 210, Owen is, and I think Alex is like maybe a plus 175 kind of deal. So I think they're kind of on the opposite sides of the spectrum. So I would give Jesse like a plus 350, but other than that, everybody else is a realistic odd. I think I'd give Ryan like a to win it. I would give him like a plus 125. I would give Jackson a plus 100. Minus 100, plus 100, minus 100. I'm gonna go with minus 100. I'm gonna go with minus 100. So that's my spiel, boys. I think I got the longest one here. For you true fans who actually watch everything all the way to the end, I think there's only 2 or 3 of us. I know it's me and Jackson. Anything I've hearted this year, I've watched, and I've watched the entirety of it. Some of y'all ramble for forever, and so I'm going to start doing it. I'm well certain that is over 3 minutes for my picks there on the playoffs and Sped Bowl. I didn't actually keep track, but we're at 14 minutes now, so I'm going to end it. Peace out, boys. Fuck y'all.